This story is a work of fiction, crafted to invite you into a world that exists only in imagination. It is not a recounting of real events, nor does it draw from any actual people or places. Instead, it is a canvas for exploring ideas and possibilities. Think of it as a thought experiment, set during a moment of national crisis when the stakes are high and the future uncertain. Every character, event and location you encounter here is entirely imagined, created to serve the story and its themes. Any resemblance to real people, living or dead, or to actual events, is purely coincidental and unintentional. The purpose of this narrative is to explore how democratic institutions and the people within them might respond when tested by extraordinary circumstances and extreme pressure. This is not journalism, nor is it a prediction of what's to come. It is simply a story, a lens through which we can examine the fragility and resilience of democracy. The date is January 13th, 2026, a day that exists only in this narrative, yet feels eerily plausible. The country stands divided, its political landscape fraught with tension, uncertainty and deep-seated mistrust. Our story begins on a cold Tuesday morning in Washington, D.C., as the city awakens under a heavy blanket of frost and anticipation. A storm is brewing, not in the sky, but within the very halls of power, where decisions made today could alter the nation's course. The events that follow will challenge the nation's very fabric, testing the limits of law, leadership, and public trust. Through the eyes of leaders, law enforcement, and everyday citizens, we'll witness how crisis can unite or divide, inspire courage or sow fear. This is a fictional journey into a day marked by great tension and uncertainty, where every choice matters and the outcome is unknown. Please remember, this is only a story, a safe space to imagine the unimaginable and reflect on what truly matters. So let's step into this world together and see what unfolds. The crisis begins now, and the story is yours to witness. The House chamber was thick with tension, the air heavy with anticipation and anxiety as lawmakers took their seats. It was an emergency joint session of Congress, called with almost no notice, and every seat was filled. Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer stood shoulder to shoulder, their differences set aside, united by the gravity of the crisis. Before them lay a resolution unlike any in American history, a formal, urgent plea for the president to resign immediately. Drafted in the wake of mounting scandals and national unrest. The message was clear. If the president refused, Congress would pursue removal from office and even hinted at the possibility of arrest, a threat rarely spoken aloud in the chamber. The debate that followed was brief, but fierce, with voices raised and tempers flaring as lawmakers argued the nation's future. Some Republicans decried the move as a political coup, warning of dangerous precedent, while others, invoking their oath to the Constitution, reluctantly supported the resolution. Democrats, meanwhile, stood in rare unity, insisting that the country's stability and the rule of law were at stake, and that action was necessary to restore public trust. The final vote was historic, 265 to 170, with 45 Republicans breaking ranks to join the Democrats, a sign of just how deep the crisis had become. As the gavel fell, a wave of shock and disbelief rippled through the chamber, echoing the gravity of what had just transpired. Though the resolution carried no legal force, it was a powerful and unprecedented statement of congressional will, a line drawn in the sand. Congress had, in no uncertain terms, declared the president unfit to lead, sending a message that could not be ignored. News of the vote flashed across television screens and social media feeds nationwide, leaving millions in disbelief and sparking urgent conversations in homes and offices. Around the world, journalists and world leaders watched closely, aware that the fate of the American presidency could reshape global politics. In the Oval Office, the president received the news, his reaction hidden from public view, but the weight of the moment unmistakable. Across the country, Americans waited anxiously for the president's response, uncertain what the next hours would bring. The stakes had never been higher, and the sense of history in the making was palpable. The American experiment stood at a crossroads, its future hanging in the balance as the world watched. All eyes were now on the president. What would he do next? The president's response came not from the White House, but from the gilded halls of Mar-a-Lago, his private Florida estate. The world watched as the seat of power shifted, if only for a moment, to this unlikely stronghold. On a live stream that quickly went viral, he appeared visibly furious, his face flushed with anger as he waved the congressional resolution in front of the camera for all to see. He didn't hold back, calling members of Congress traitors and accusing them of orchestrating a plot to steal the country from its rightful leader. "My term ends when I say it ends," he declared, his voice echoing with defiance. The crowd gathered outside erupted in cheers, emboldened by his words. Rejecting Congress's authority outright, he framed the moment as the final battle for the nation's soul, urging his followers to stand firm. "Civil war starts now," he shouted, words that sent chills across the nation and left millions in disbelief. Law enforcement agencies immediately treated the broadcast as a credible and imminent threat, scrambling to respond. Homeland Security and the FBI activated emergency protocols, coordinating with local authorities and preparing for unrest on a scale not seen in generations. The president's incendiary words were a match to a national tinderbox, igniting passions and fears in equal measure. For his supporters it was a call to action, a rallying cry to defend their leader. For his opponents, it was nothing less than a declaration of war. The country teetered on the edge, with cities bracing for unrest and ordinary citizens glued to their screens, anxious and uncertain. The live stream, meant as a show of strength, instead transformed a political crisis into a full-blown security emergency, dominating headlines everywhere. The president dared anyone, Congress, the courts, even the military, to try and stop him, his challenge echoing across the nation. America was now balanced on a knife's edge, its future uncertain, its unity threatened as never before. The world held its breath, watching as history unfolded in real time, uncertain what the next hour would bring. The president's words ignited the streets of Washington, D.C. Pro-Trump protesters surged toward the Capitol, energized and defiant. Anti-Trump demonstrators gathered too, demanding his removal. Two massive crowds face to face, a nation's divide made visible. Police were instantly overwhelmed. Barriers fell. Over 200,000 people flooded the National Mall. Chaos erupted. Shouting, shoving, fear. The mayor declared a riot emergency. The D.C. National Guard was mobilized under federal control. Humvees and soldiers in riot gear rolled in, separating the furious crowds. The Capitol looked like a war zone. Symbols of democracy were now ringed by armed troops. The city was locked down, but the crowds kept growing. The military's presence raised new questions about order and authority. The nation's failure to resolve its differences was now on full display. The world watched as democracy teetered. The crisis deepened. Inside the Capitol, alarms blared, evacuation was ordered. Lawmakers, staff, and journalists rushed into secure tunnels beneath the building. Fear and disbelief filled the underground halls. Political debate had spilled into the streets, now forcing leaders to flee. Outside, city officials scrambled to contain the chaos. Bridges and roads were closed, the metro shut down. A citywide curfew was announced, but few listened. The National Guard, now under federal command, took charge of security. Soldiers on American streets unsettled the nation. The city waited, uncertain if the military would restore order or inflame tensions. The government's crisis was now a national emergency. The world watched, anxious for what would come next. Away from the chaos, Vice President Vance met with cabinet members in a secure room. They debated invoking the 25th Amendment to remove the president. The president's call for civil war had changed everything. A decision was imminent. If he didn't resign, they would act. Meanwhile, Judge Beryl Howell issued a stunning arrest order, citing the president's incitement as a clear danger. The legal system was now in direct confrontation with the executive. In a shocking twist, FBI Director Kash Patel's secret testimony leaked. He revealed the president had ordered evidence suppression and political purges. Patel was arrested, but his testimony rocked the administration. The government's foundations were shaking. The constitutional endgame was near. In Palm Beach, Florida, another drama unfolded at Mar-a-Lago. U.S. Marshals arrived with court orders to seize assets tied to a massive civil fraud judgment. The timing was remarkable. Legal consequences arriving as the president defied Congress. The Marshals prepared to seize Mar-a-Lago itself. The legal system pressed forward, even as the political crisis raged. Inside, the president live-streamed his defiance. Outside, federal agents enforced the law. The image was stark. A president under siege from all sides. For supporters, it was proof of a deep state attack. For opponents, a sign of accountability. The law was still grinding forward, no matter the chaos. The nation's divide was now a split-screen reality. The pressure on the president mounted. The crisis sent shockwaves across America. In Illinois, Governor Pritzker called for the president's removal, urging the 25th Amendment. Governors nationwide faced hard choices: obey the president or defend their states. The images were haunting: military in the Capitol, citizens clashing, a president inciting violence. Worry and uncertainty gripped the nation. Families gathered, wondering what would come next. The future felt fragile, the country on the brink. As night fell, nothing was resolved. The president remained defiant in Florida. Congress had made its stand, but lacked power to enforce it. The vice president weighed a move that could tear the government apart. Crowds still filled the streets, a nation at war with itself. The day ended with a terrifying question mark. The world watched, hoping for a peaceful dawn that was far from certain.